see, this recipe really is delicious. Now, lots of people are calling in today to tell us where Stephen Terry's restaurant is. It's, of course, in South Wales. Yeah, I got it wrong, sorry, but stop calling us. We want some questions instead. Now, the number, remember, is 033 0123 1410. That's 033 0123 1410. Now, for this week's masterclass, I thought I'd show you how to make one of the most versatile ingredients or recipes in the cook's repertoire. It's a simple white sauce, which I'm going to make into a cheese sauce. For that, basically, it's basically butter, flour and milk, and it's how you incorporate it all together. So we throw in some butter first. Now, what we don't want to be doing is sort of colouring the butter. So you just want to put that in the pan and just melt it nicely. So just get that started. Now, I use cold milk for this, but purists will tell you a white sauce should be done with milk that's been boiled with an onion cloute, which is bay leaf, clove and onion in it to infuse. But I'm going to show you how to create this dish very, very quickly. Now, what you need to do, I think, is not measure out the ingredients, really, this. It's all to do by eye. So with the flour, it's not necessarily equal quantities. Because if you put equal quantities of flour, particularly in a cheese sauce, it's going to become really thick. So that's the texture that we're looking for the roux. As it starts to cook, then gradually you pour on the milk. Now, first of all, you keep the pan on high to keep it cooking. So you want to cook out this flour, really, and it'll get thicker to start off with. Now, in old recipe books, they will actually tell you to do this with a wooden spoon. But if you do it with a whisk, it stops the lumps.
I was just about to ask you how you get rid of the lumps. Mine just
you don't pass
lumpy.
it through a sieve, all right? So if you keep mixing it, you see, and keep it on the heat and keep turning it like that, it'll all come together as a simple little white sauce, which is what we're looking for. Now, what we don't want to be is too thick. So at this point, we can add a little bit more milk. And there you have it. That's as simple as that to make a simple white sauce. And then you can change the ingredients for this. You can put herbs in it, you can put mint in it. I'm going to put cheese in it to make a cheese sauce, but with the addition of a little bit of mustard. So we've got some English mustard, a little bit of Worcester sauce going in there, and then I'm going to throw in some of this cheese, which is a Lincolnshire poacher in the end. But I'm just going to cook this gently for about 2 or 3 minutes. Gives me enough time to cook my broccoli, so I'm going to do this little broccoli and brioche bake. That'll go in there. So a little bit of salt. This is purple sprouting broccoli. Now, I know Sam's a lover of ingredients in season. This is one of them as well. So purple sprouting broccoli. And we just gently cook the sauce. You can see it just starting to thicken up now. And then just grate the cheese into it. And that's your simple white sauce. Now, if you wanted, you can make this cheese sauce and flake smoked haddock in it. The classic would be an omelette Al Bennett, but that would be made with the liquor from the cooked smoked haddock. So you cook the haddock in milk and use the milk to make the sauce. Exactly how I've done here. Flake the haddock into an omelette. Not the type of omelette that these lot make in about 15 minutes time. Proper omelette. Pour the sauce on the top with the cheese and you've got a cheese sauce. But I'm using this. This is a Lincolnshire poacher. It's a fantastic cheddar style cheese, but it's wonderful. And you just pop that in there. Bit of salt and pepper. And you were saying you wanted to know how to make a cheese sauce as well. That's it.
Well, that's it. I can make I can make macaroni cheese.
Oh, well, that's all right.
It's not too bad.
That's the repertoire of cookery. If you manage that one, that's all right.
Well, most of the time my children look at my food and then they say, I'm not eating that. So,
well, you're so busy because, I mean, I'm looking at your career. I mean, you must be the busiest person in particularly your field because it's gone crazy for you, but not throughout literally your entire career, really.
Been very, very fortunate, yes. I've done some of the most wonderful shows.
But it must have been quite difficult. I always found that, you know, when you speak to people who are in theatre, very difficult at the start because, you know, it's the start is the key to this. It's just getting the break, really, I suppose.
Definitely getting the break, but also I think a lot of it has to do with your attitude and how... I remember when I was understudying for a while there and I just one day I said, I'm not doing this anymore. If an understudy comes up, that's it, I'm going to turn it down unless I get a lead role. And I think you have to know what you want. I mean, I was a very ambitious girl.
But is that a risk or...?
Yes, it is, because, you know, well, you're going to find out whether you've got what it takes, really, aren't you, if you stop going up for the chorus and the understudies. But I think you have to take the risk in our business, you know, otherwise you'll never, ever move on because you can become very, very useful.
Because I always find about the theatre, you know, unless you get something that's at the very beginning where you can almost make it your role,
yes,
you're taking over the role of
that's right.
pretty high-profile people.
That's right. And the thing is that every actress wants to be able to do the blueprint, you know, the new show.
Yeah.
But then you've got shows like I never would have done Les Miserables if I'd, you know, not been prepared to take over.
I mean, Cats was Cats the big one for you? Was that?
That was my first West End.
Because somebody, you know, I mentioned that. I mean, Elaine Page, that was the one that really launched her, and then you doing a role like that. Must have been quite...
Yes, it was. It was. I was there when it was the longest running musical at 8 years, and of course then it went on to do about 20 years.
Well, I actually did go see Cats once. I did see it at the theatre. But being a Yorkshireman, I got a cheap ticket, and I basically saw part of Cats and the other bit was a fire exit. They stuck me on one of the side bits. It was a cheap ticket.
See, you get what you pay for.
Yeah, restricted view they called it on the tickets. Yeah.
But you know that the orchestra...
Couldn't see a damn thing when I was... But anyway.
But the orchestra was actually underneath you.
Yes, it was a bit like that, yeah.
Thank you, yes,
but,
yes.
Yeah.
Which I always felt sorry for the orchestra because people were dropping sweet wrappers on them all the time.
Probably me, to be honest. Probably me. But I mean, doing stuff like that, you mentioned Les Miz, and I mean, you've been in so many Olivier Awards, nominated for so many, winning some as well. I mean, you keep that career going, and then you're still on stage now, but something slightly different. Tell us what you're doing, because you were on stage last night in Basingstoke.
Yeah, I'm doing my own one-woman show. I'm touring it around the country, sort of at Warwick, Wales, and...
Would that be South Wales or North Wales?
Do you know what?
In fact, don't mention anything, yeah.
If it's South Wales, can I come to you?
You consider yourself invited.
Yes.
That sounds nice. Yeah, and I've done an album called I've Loved These Days. And what's lovely about it is being able to... I'm so used to playing a character and doing 8 shows a week and, you know, whatever the director needs you to do, you know, you've got the parameters of the character, whereas you do something like this and you've got free reign.
Yeah.
And I have stories from my career and my life, and it's quite an honest trot through my career and life, really. I really have loved these days. I constantly feel fortunate that I got to do it and met some great people. But the album is very much it because I did it with my production company, 3 Pin. We actually, you know, you can do it's much more personal, and it's not what somebody is saying. Oh no,
you get to choose your favourites because you've got things like songs from Lennon, McCartney, all manner of different things.
Joni Mitchell, and then there is, you know, some Sondheim and you know, some musical theatre. But it's I really have loved choosing them and how personal they are. I chose them. It's like a sort of desert island discs of my life and career, really.
And amongst all that lot, you find time to write a book as well, giving young people the inspiration to get into theatre. Because that, like I said at the top, it must be an incredibly hard career. Because what have you got when you get a big show like that? 9 shows a day?
It's 8 shows a week.
Sorry, 9 shows a week.
8 shows a week, mind you. If you're on tour with Joseph, I think it's about 10 or 11 or 12. They do something like 3 a day sometimes.
So the understudy has to know everything.
Yep.
But may not do anything.
That's absolutely right. And that's why, I mean, Claude Michel Schoenberg said that the first time he was there, when I first went on for Ellen, I was understudying The American Wife. And apparently I came off and I said, I have been at the front, I am never going back. And I say it in a French accent because he's French, and it just sounds great. But yeah, and I knew what I wanted, and I knew I didn't want to be at the back. So.
But there are certain roles that you kind of love, and particularly certain sort of theatre plays that you love, and one particularly throughout your career has been Chicago. I mean, that's one of the things that you've played. You've gone back to play. You played both roles.
Yes.
In that.
On Broadway and here.
And Broadway and here.
Yeah.
So is that something that if you got a phone call again, would you play it again?
Do you know what? I probably would, because they are 2 of the most brilliant female roles. They don't come much better than that, because at one stage, with these juggernaut musicals, the Miss Saigons, the Les Miz, it's all about the set and the scenery. You know, there's the chandelier and there's the helicopters, and really the set became the stars of the show at one stage. You know, the barricade, and with Chicago, it came back to the people in it and the dancing, and it was just pure, brilliant entertainment.
See, I know a bit about that, because isn't that a flossy style of dancing, is that right?
Flossy.
Flossy.
Oh,
Flossy.
I like that.
Flossy.
I like
ignored that class
Flossy.
when I did Strictly. I was doing Flossy. That's where I went wrong. That's why I only got the semi-final, you see.
That's the kind of thing I would say. I love you.
Anyway, just eat that.
Right. Oh, I'm going to do a Flossy masterclass,
Oh, right, yes.
clearly.
Yeah. Well, it's all that sort of stuff, isn't it? Kind of. This.
Oh, now
it's like
that-
penguin dance, isn't it? It's all that sort of stuff.
It's a finger, it's a shoulder.
Yeah,
it's
that's what it is.
you know.
It's like that. Nervous twitch. If there's a skill you'd like me to demonstrate on the show, or perhaps you need much needed help with a cooking technique and can't quite get it right, then drop us a line. We'll try to answer them over the coming shows. No dancing questions to me, please. You can get all the contact details via our website. That's bbc.co.uk/Saturday Kitchen. And what we'll be cooking for Ruthie at the end of the show? She could be facing food heaven. That's sticky toffee pudding with toffee sauce. The pudding is made with plenty of golden syrup, treacle, dates, along with butter, flour and sugar. It's cooked gently and served with homemade toffee sauce and some ice cream. Or Ruthie could be facing food hell. Scallops, which we're going to use to fill some ravioli, along with some chives, a little bit of double cream, and serve it along with a few pan-fried scallops on the top, some samphire, little tomato, and white wine sauce. Some of the viewers and the chefs in the studio get side Ruthie's fate today, but you have to wait till the end of the show to see the final result. You enjoying that?
Oh my
See the brioche and the cheese sauce, you see, it's a winner. Right, we've reached another knockout stage in Celebrity MasterChef. The 4 hopefuls face 2 challenges today. Then one of them will be sent packing. The first task is to follow a